Well, hey guys, it's Ian at SS8000 Cars, and we're here today to chat about the Golf R. Now, normally this is in James and Harry's territory, but I wanted to have a chat to you all today just to give you an indication of how good I think the Golf R actually is. So I just thought, well, this was an opportunity to have a look at a really fully spec'd version. And I think a number of you have also mentioned to me in the past that do we have the dynamic package on ours, which we don't. And I was actually quite keen to find out whether or not the dynamic package made a difference to handling. And this one, as you can see, has the 19-inch wheels, and it has the dynamic package. But it's got a number of other things as well. I particularly like the 19-inch wheels. I think the 19-inch wheels are incredibly good looking and probably about the right diameter for the car. I really do like them. I think they're really smart. So it's basically very similar to our own car. A number of obvious differences. I suppose the one that's perhaps the most noticeable is the fact that this is a 5-door rather than a 3-door. You probably heard quite recently that Volkswagen have actually announced the launch of the 2017 Golf, which they're calling a Mark 7.5 rather than a Mark 8, which apparently is due before the end of the decade, but probably 2018, 2019. And really the new one, it differs marginally. The outside dimensions are very similar. I'm sure some of the body panels have been replaced. I've not seen one yet, only seen pictures of them. It looks remarkably similar from the outside, but the inside has changed, and you have a much bigger standard screen. I believe it's gone up from 6.5 inches to 7.5 inches, and I think you have the option of perhaps as big as a 10.5 inch screen. So from a practicality viewpoint, for you guys with young children, I do think having the 5 doors makes a huge difference to the overall practicality of the car. Even for me, where my kids are pretty much grown up, the reality is that it's much easier just to be able to throw things in the back of the car. Although the 3-door is reasonably easy to get into the back with because it has larger doors, the bottom line is it's still a bit of a fuffle to pull the seat forward, even to put your coats and stuff that you want to put in the back of the car rather than into the boot. Now this one has the full leather upholstery, which I must admit I quite like. I mean, I think there is an advantage to having cloth upholstery, because in this weather especially, when you get on it, it's a little warmer and more comforting than leather. But the leather does add a touch of luxury, makes it feel like a more prestigious motor car, I feel anyway. I'm actually 6 feet and half an inch, and you can see that with the chair in the position for me, there's not a huge amount of legroom in the back. In fact, you know, I think really there's no difference between the legroom in the 5-door and the legroom in the 3-door. However, I'm going to get in quickly. Hi guys. I'm going to get in quickly and just let you see for a second. You know, there's enough legroom. So whilst it doesn't look cavernous in the back in any way, I actually think the legroom's not too bad at all. And very quickly you can see the dash from the rear, but it's a little bit easier to see probably from back here. So a couple of features that you can see is this one has the sunshine roof. I think it's a nice feature, and I would definitely have it if I was speccing the car from new. This has got, I think it's the 8.5 inch navigation screen or infotainment center screen. It is much better than the smaller screen that we have. Although we have the sat nav in RR, the bottom line is that it's quite a bit smaller. Love the steering wheel. Steering wheel hasn't changed in any way, exactly as it was, with just enough information on the steering wheel to allow you to change quite a few of the, or control quite a few of the functions on the car without having to take your eyes off the road. I don't actually know if the boot space is any different to the three-door. It looks the same, so I'd hazard a guess and say that it is exactly the same loading space as you have on the three-door. Love the diffuser and the quad exhaust, but again, you will know that that is standard fare on the R, whether you have a 5-door or a 3-door. Interested in your opinion on the looks. I actually think the 5-door looks quite purposeful, especially with the 19-inch rims. I mean, that's the trouble, is I'm comparing the 5-door with the 19s against our 3-door with the 18s, and I particularly, as I said, like the 19-inch rims. So again, we've got the front sports seats. They adjust in exactly the same way as our ones do. It's interesting actually, because I noted from some of the comments that you've made after James and Harry's video on the Golf that none of you seem to like the carpets, and I have to say, why Volkswagen put in these nylon-y type carpets which actually catch absolutely everything, and they're almost impossible to brush, I really don't know. The actual mats themselves, quite good quality. They're proper carpets, I'd say. So I just don't understand why they do that, because as you can see, it's quite short, the mat, so you get a lot of rubbish under the accelerator pedal and the brake pedal, which is quite difficult to move. So if I get in, here we are, and the car is, this particular one is keyless go, so it's literally, I have the key in my pocket, foot on the brake. Sounds nice, eh? I've got it in the lowest setting. It's not in sport. Although I think it sounds pretty much the same, whatever you have it set for yourself in, even if you have it in race mode when you're idling. But that, of course, may not be true. So we could have a listen, see if we can note the change in the exhaust note. So we go into mode and we go into race. Yes, it definitely hardened, the idle note actually hardened. Do you know, I mean, there's been a lot of discussion in the press recently about the merits or not of having a 6-cylinder engine vis-a-vis a 4-cylinder engine, and this has sort of been brought to light by the Cayman, really, in the sense that the Boxster and the Cayman have gone 4-cylinder from 6-cylinder engines, and of course you've lost the beautiful note, the 6-cylinder rumble that you get on a 6-cylinder engine, because it's been replaced by 4. So obviously when the Golf R was introduced, it went from 6-cylinder in the R32, was the predecessor to the Golf R, to 4-cylinder. And I think at this price point, it doesn't matter quite so much. I think at £30,000, you're not really expecting too much more than just a good sounding engine. And I do like the sound of this engine, whether it's 4-cylinder or not. I just think that once you're up to double that, so a well-spec'd Cayman or a well-spec'd Boxster is going to be in the region of 55 to 65,000. I think at that level, really you should have a 6-cylinder engine. That's just my opinion. Okay, so basically in mode you have eco, normal, race, and you have individual, and then if you press individual, and here you can actually set it up exactly the way you want it. I've actually got it set up for me, which is and James actually changes all this when he gets in the car. But I actually like my steering in sport. I like a really nice direct steering feel. I like the drive to be in as soft as possible for normal road use. Obviously that would change if you took the car on a track, or even if you were driving in a spirited fashion. Personally I tend to stick it in race because that automatically gives you the hardest setting on all these buttons. You can see I've got the dynamic cornering on normal. I'm not sure what it means, what eco on air conditioning means. Perhaps it means it's at a slightly lower level. It's always an interesting one. This is changed from our Golf R interior engine sound. Presumably that's what's been piped through the speakers. It always seems a little bit strange to me to be sitting in a car where the noise of the engine is partly determined by what comes through the speakers, but that's one of the things I sort of thought about changing in RR, but having just had the car serviced, I'm not sure I will now. So you have quite a few options there, and I think it does give you a bit of flexibility. So you can have most of it in eco, because the car in eco is quite powerful enough. I mean, I have been told actually it doesn't affect whichever version you have it in, whether it's individual or normal or race. It doesn't actually affect the way the car performs if you put your foot right down. Obviously you've got all your car information, so the vehicle status, you go into setup, and then you have all your information. So that's how to turn off your ESC systems, tells you what pressures your tires are at. Not sure what parking and maneuvering is there for. I don't know whether this one actually parks itself, maybe it does. And then you can set all sorts of different things. As you can see, we've got automatic headlight control, dynamic cornering light, convenience turn signal. Then of course you can go into the overall menu, and this actually allows you to scroll through. So if you go to traffic, it'll give you the latest traffic information depending on where you're going. Voice activation. I always find this slightly frustrating.
Did you mean the POI category convention centers?
Asking you where you want to go and what is near in the area that you're with, but obviously
Please speak more quietly.
I'm obviously confusing it by talking over it. So come out and go back to nav. I do like the way that it immediately comes up with all the options at the bottom the second that your hand approaches the screen. I think it's a nice touch, and you can see it's gone away there. Okay, well I hope that gives you just a little bit of a feel for the car. I think subject of another video is why we ended up with the 5-door, which wasn't actually organised. I mean, it was one of those things that you hope won't happen, but in this particular case did. So you know, I mean, I'll talk about that another time. One of the things I wanted to do quickly was just give a quick plug to Moff's Autos. One of the lads that follows our channel has his own channel, and I think it's probably a month ago or so now, they did a comparison between their Range Rover and a Bentley Bentayga, which is a car that I really do like, and at some stage we'll do an analysis of the Bentley Bentayga itself. Not normally our criteria for looking at cars, but I think the Bentley Bentayga is a quite extraordinary machine, and priced at a reasonably respectable level with a starting price of the sort of 150 mark. So it should be interesting. And then just finally, tomorrow night at the McLaren Winter Ball, I am hoping, I've heard through the grapevine, that McLaren are going to announce the new P14. Now, announce in the sense of actually show the car at the dinner. Now obviously I won't let this video go out until after that's taken place, because I don't want to have stuff on the network that contravenes the rules with McLaren in any way, because they are a quite great company. Sorry that Ron Dennis is gone, as you probably have read in the press. Ron has been with McLaren for many years, and unfortunately is a victim of his Asian investment strategy, I would say. he's primarily been responsible for introducing the car division, and you know how much we think of McLaren road cars. I'm from a company that started 5.5 years ago. I think the McLaren cars are just the most exciting cars on the road. Okay guys, well, do give Moff's Autos a quick look, and we'll catch up next time. Thanks for watching. See you later.